Rose caught her fiancé David in bed with her sister Amy at a hotel. Enraged, she spent a passionate night with David's uncle, Jack, as a form of revenge. During this, David suddenly called. At Rose's request, Jack lied, claiming Rose wasn't there, even though they had just shared a night together. Rose had no intention of breaking up with David because her late mother had left him a substantial inheritance. Determined to quietly take back the inheritance from him, Rose stayed in the relationship. As one of Jack's subordinates, Rose often acted as his shield at social events by drinking on his behalf. But today, surprisingly, Jack took the initiative to shield her from drinking. When Rose went to the restroom to sober up, Jack followed her, demanding that she break up with David. Sensing an opportunity, Rose teased Jack about his feelings for her, but Jack coldly denied being interested. This only ignited Rose's competitive spirit. She was determined to test whether Jack was truly uninterested. During a family dinner, Rose playfully teased Jack under the table with her foot, but Jack grabbed her ankle in retaliation. David, noticing Rose's discomfort, spotted the love bites on her neck. Rose quickly lied, claiming she'd been bitten by a mosquito. Thankfully, a call from Amy interrupted David's questioning. Later, Jack dragged Rose into his car and kissed her fiercely, punishing her for provoking him earlier. Jack tasked Rose with booking his business trip hotel. Rose mischievously asked whether she should book a single room or a double. Irritated by her teasing, Jack angrily closed the blinds and kissed her right in his office. Suddenly, David knocked on the door, forcing Rose to hide under Jack's desk. While David entered, he caught a whiff of Rose's perfume but didn't see her. Little did he know that under the desk, Rose was secretly teasing Jack. When Rose's phone unexpectedly rang, David tried to check it, but Jack calmly claimed it was his own phone. David grew increasingly suspicious of Rose's recent behavior and decided to take her to a hotel, intending to consummate their relationship. Realizing his plan, Rose turned to Jack for help. Though Jack refused at first, he ultimately called David, concocting a business trip excuse to get Rose away from him. Rose initially thought Jack's actions were a deliberate attempt to save her and felt touched, only to discover Jack truly intended for her to leave for the trip. This made her believe once again that Jack had no feelings for her. However, as soon as they landed, Jack couldn't resist kissing Rose and carrying her to the bed. Just as they became entangled, David tracked them down to the hotel and knocked on the door. Despite the imminent risk of exposure, Jack remained composed, blocking the door and successfully sending David away. Just as Rose began doubting Jack's feelings for her again, a woman appeared, shattering her hopes. Jack's ex-girlfriend, Alice, had returned. Determined to live with David to facilitate her search for her mother's inheritance will, Rose's decision infuriated Jack. He called her into his office, tied her hands with his tie, pinned her to the desk, and kissed her passionately. Alice, sensing Jack's unusual feelings for Rose, deliberately kept Rose working late. When Jack's calls to Rose went unanswered, he rushed to the office to find her passed out at her desk. After she woke, Jack coldly warned her never to ignore his calls again, but his actions, gently taking care of her, showed his true concern. This complicated Rose's feelings for him once more. But Alice's words soon poured cold water on Rose's emotions, as she claimed Jack only saw Rose as a substitute for her. Rose dismissed Alice's concerns, stating that she was soon marrying David. However, when Jack overheard this, he became jealous and kissed Rose's neck just as David called her. Forced to juggle Jack's kisses and David's phone call, Rose felt deeply humiliated. Jack angrily demanded to know why Rose wouldn't break up with David. Reminded of Alice's words, a frustrated Rose decided to cut off her abnormal relationship with Jack. Heartbroken, Rose drowned her sorrows at a bar. Her friend called Jack, who rushed to find her. In her drunken state, Rose revealed the real reason she hadn't broken up with David: to prevent her mother's inheritance from falling into his hands. Learning the truth, Jack asked about her feelings for him, but Rose sadly insisted that Jack loved someone else. In response, Jack pulled her into his arms, declaring that the person he loved was her, and kissed her. Alice confessed her love to Jack but was rejected as Jack admitted he no longer loved her. Determined to take revenge on Rose, Alice drugged her, but Jack arrived in time to save her, leading to another night of passion. The next morning, Rose tried to run away, but Jack held her tightly, telling her not to act like nothing happened after sleeping together. Rose realized she was falling for Jack but reminded herself not to get attached, still unaware that Jack had already rejected Alice. At Rose and David's engagement party, her stepmother and Amy mocked her for being lucky to land a man like David. David stood by silently as Jack stepped in to defend Rose. Furious, Amy tried to push Rose into the pool but ended up falling in with her. David immediately jumped in to save Amy while Rose, on the verge of drowning, was rescued by Jack instead. When a doctor informed Amy she'd had a miscarriage, David furiously accused Rose of pushing Amy. Jack and David got into a fight, which Jack's father interrupted. Recognizing Jack's feelings for Rose, his father warned her to stay away from his son. Alice tried to frame Rose for leaking company secrets, but Jack arrived in time to expose Alice as the true culprit, handing her over to the police. Meanwhile, David sent Roses to apologize to Rose and invited her to try on wedding dresses. Jealous, Jack cornered Rose in the restroom and kissed her. When Rose warned him that others might see, Jack smirked, saying he didn't mind being seen. While trying on wedding dresses, Rose overheard David's phone call with Amy and discovered the location of the inheritance will. She successfully retrieved it and tore it to shreds, determined to expose David and Amy's affair during the wedding. At the ceremony, Rose revealed incriminating photos of David and Amy in bed together. Furious, David accused Rose of being unworthy of marriage, claiming no one else would want her. Jack immediately stood up, announcing that he would marry Rose. He whisked her away from the wedding, leaving the guests stunned. Jack's father was furious, believing that Jack, as David's uncle, should not be involved with his nephew's fiancée. But Jack was adamant about staying with Rose, further angering his father, who retaliated by pressuring Jack's company. When Jack left on business, his father kidnapped Rose, intending to ruin her reputation. Jack arrived just in time to save her but was injured and fell unconscious. At Jack's bedside, Rose tearfully confessed her love for him. Jack's father, arriving shortly after, blamed Rose for everything and ordered her to leave Jack once he woke. David took advantage of Jack's coma to seize control of his company, humiliating Rose and attempting to fire her. However, Jack woke up in time, returning to the office to declare that David had no authority to dismiss his people. Jack demanded a kiss from Rose as a reward for rescuing her while injured. Rose, however, revealed her promise to Jack's father to leave him once he recovered. Jack urged her to face her feelings and stop running away. Jack took Rose home to confront his father, who punished him severely for his defiance. As Rose tended to Jack's wounds, he asked her to stay by his side if she truly cared for him. Rose agreed, and Jack seized the moment to propose. David, furious over Rose's relationship with Jack, caused a scene at the company. Jack declared Rose as his love and removed David from the company. He then publicly announced Rose as his future wife, earning the congratulations of their colleagues. Jack proposed to Rose, expressing how he'd fallen deeply in love with her. Presenting her with a ring, he asked her to marry him. Overwhelmed with joy, Rose accepted. Fireworks lit up the sky as the happy couple embraced beneath them.